So today we will start the structure and chemistry of animal tissue, part second. Already we have discussed about the meat, different terms related to meat, different types of muscle and associated, associated tissues. After that, type of muscular tissue, that is skeletal muscle, smooth muscle, and cardiac muscle. We have dealt with skeletal muscle in detail in previous lecture. So today we will deal about first that smooth muscle, because smooth muscle that is innervated by autonomic nervous system, and it is found primarily in the walls of hollow organs and tubes, and these muscles are and the cells of these muscles are mostly spindle shaped and typically arranged in sheet, and in this the nucleus are found single and it is centrally located. In contrast to that stated muscle, cells were the muscle fibers were multinucleated and the nucleus were found beneath the cell layer. But here the cells are found centrally located. And another feature is cells do not have sarcoplasmic reticulum and T tubules, because the role of contraction here will difference from the striated muscle. And here is no presence of Z line or M line or striation. And I have already told that it is innervated by autonomic nervous system, so it is involuntary in nature, voluntary nature, sorry. And here no Z line or M line or striation, and acting mass information is present in the same proportion, and it is occur single or in bundles and surrounded by network of reticular fiber. So these are the characteristics features of the smooth muscle, and we have to remember that these muscles are present in the visceral organs where we can't control. Their mechanism is controlled by autonomic nervous system. So there are two types of smooth muscle. First one is visceral or unitary smooth muscle. Second one is multi-unit smooth muscle. If we talk of visceral or unitary smooth muscle, these muscles are found in the walls of hollow organs, that is small blood vessels, digestive tract, urinary tract, reproductive systems. And these multiple fibers contract as a unit, and in some cases these are self-excitable. Self-excitable means these generate spontaneous action potential and contraction. Another unit is another classification is multi-unit smooth muscle. These consist of motor units that are activated by nervous stimulation, and these are found in large blood vessels, in eyes, because in eyes the opening and that closing of eye lens will in that what will happen, the muscles will muscle will contract as a unit, and it adjusts for vision, for seeing the things far or near from the eye lens. So this is multi-unit smooth muscle. After that, third category of muscle is cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle, it is also voluntary in it is also involuntary in nature, and the basic contractile layer that present in heart is myocardium, that contains the bulk of cardiac muscle. You know very well that there are three layers of heart, that is epicardium, myocardium, and endocardium, and this myocardium is actually the cardiac muscle. It is also single centrally placed nucleus. Fibers are branched and are shorter in size, and these muscles having sarcoplasm, and this sarcoplasm has abundant glycogen granules. Why I am saying that these have abundant glycogen granules, or it also has mitochondria present in large number, because these cardiac muscles have the property of continuous contraction and relaxation, which is required for the living of life. Because if cardiac muscle will stop, we will suffer from heart attack. So life will stop immediately. So but that's why the nature has given mechanism Here the lot of glycogen granules are present, and for contraction relaxation, these glycogen granules will utilize. Apart from that, mitochondria are also present in numerous amount, in large number, because these mitochondria will provide uh, constant source of ATP for contraction and relaxation. Okay. After that, these agreements of myofilaments form fibrils of extremely variable size. And here also there is the presence of T tubules, but T tubules will present at Z discs. And the sarcoplasmic reticulum is not well developed. Okay, but T tubules will be more developed, and terminus sterni like stator muscles are absent here. And one unique feature of cardiac muscle is it is the presence of intercalated discs. You have to remember that these questions are coming regularly. That where intercalated disc is present. So intercalated disc is a part of cardiac muscle. It is a specific features of cardiac muscle which is transecting the fibers, and it is present at a regular interval across I band. Okay, so we have to remember intercalated disc, and this is a diagram of the cardiac muscle. We can see that intercalated discs are anchoring or uh, joining at the gap filaments, and you can see cardiac muscles. Cardiac muscles are friendly striated, branching mononucleate cells, which are connected by means of intercalated discs. So this intercalated disc is a very pertinent feature of the cardiac muscle. So we have completed the classification of muscular tissue. After that, another tissue is epithelial tissue. In histology, you will remember that you have learned about lot of epithelial tissue are present in body, and its classification like scattered squamous, simple cuboidal, stratified cuboidal, simple columnar, stratified columnar, pseudo-stratified, transitional glandular, and glandular like that. So we have learned about epithelial tissue. Here we don't have to learn in detail, but we have to know what is the concentration present in the meat of epithelial tissue, what is the role of epithelial tissue in meat. So we have to remember. So where that epithelial tissue is present, it is lining the body surfaces, various cavities, duct and tubes of the body, and one free surface is faded, and the epithelial tissue one free surfaces faces the body fluid or the environment. It is a constant touch with the internal environment or the fluids which it is carrying. And one basic feature of epithelial tissue is that it is the least in quantity present in meat, around less than 1%. But what is the feature of this epithelial tissue? If it is present, it will provide flavor and crispiness to the meat. So I am talking about the role of the epithelial tissue. So the major role of epithelial tissue is it will provide flavor and crispiness to the meat. And these epithelial tissue are associated with blood and lymph vessels and various edible organs such as kidney, liver, and in byproducts like hide and skin. So it is present in all the organs and structures, but but the but the concentration is very less, and it is classified according to shape and numbers of layer. Already I have told in previous slide that various type like simple squamous, stratified squamous, simple columnar, stratified columnar, stratified transitional. So lot of classifications are there, and it is present according to the structure and structure and function of the organ. Okay, and its major function is protection, secretion, excretion, transport, absorption, sense perception. So lot of functions are there, but we have to keep in mind that it is the least present, least tissue present in the meat, but uh, uh, apart from this, it will add flavor and crispiness to the meat. So you have to remember this. After that, the next one is connective tissue. So we have to read connective tissue in detail because it is the major tissue which is responsible for the tenderness or the toughness of the meat. So I will discuss connective tissue in detail. So first one we have to remember that connective tissue is mesodermal in origin. Okay, that a cardiac muscle is also mesodermal in origin. You have to remember that. And what is the function of connective tissue? It will provide support, it will provide binding, protection, insulation, intercellular communication and exchange through various fluids. And it is also the sites for various tissue reactions that will cause inflammation, immune reaction, several things. Okay. So what are the general features of the connective tissue? First one is there are scattered few cells and considerable extracellular material. We will learn in detail in several slides next. After that, there are several fibers present in the connective tissue which are in the form of protein, and it will form matrix. And these, due to these matrix, there will be the formation of networks or bundles that will provide the toughness to the this connective tissue. So, what are the categories of various connective tissue? First one is loose connective tissue that will areolar, adipose, mesenchymal. If we classify according to the denseness of the connective tissue, these are termed as regular connective tissue, irregular connective tissue. If classify according to speciality of the connective tissue, so the types are adipose, embryonic, reticular, elastic, blood, cartilage, and bone. So these are the categories of the special connective tissue. So if we talk about in detail, so these connective tissue are present throughout the body, and these have few cells but considerable a large amount of extracellular substances. Contains embedded cells that provide structural elements limited in adipose tissue but no fibers in blood and lymph. And it will surround the muscle bundles, and connective tissue, connective fiber and muscle fibers that will form connective tissue proper. But in bone or cartilage, it is called as supportive connective tissue. It will, because it will provide support to the muscles or structures. And this connective tissue proper will consist of ground substance, several cells, and extracellular fibers. And apart from this, there are fixed cells. Fixed cell will consist of fibroblasts, mesenchymal cells, adipose tissue, and in the connective tissue proper, there are several wandering cells. Wandering cells consist of eosinophils, plasma cells, mast cells, lymph cells, pre-macrophages, and these wandering cells are responsible for the several tissue reactions, inflammation, immune reaction. So we have to remember that these wandering cells are very specific features. So, and if we talk of ground substances has a major role because it contains several glycoproteins like mucopolysaccharides. The examples are hyaluronic acid, chondroitin sulfates. It also contains precursors of collagen, that is tropocollagen, and elastin, that is tropoelastin. So what are glycosamine? Glycosan, these are the linear polymers or repeating units of disaccharides of hexamine plus uronic acid such as glucuronic acid. And these have high negative energy and these are highly hydrophilic. And these glycosaminoglycans are often sulfated. Okay, and it has a major role in signaling functions. And these glycosamine glycosans are present in various fluids. It is present in the optical fluids, it is present in synovial fluids. The examples are that is chondroitin sulfate, hyaluronic acid. These are the examples. So you have to remember the examples and have to also remember that these are the disaccharides of hexosamine plus uronic acid. After that, we will learn about collagen fiber. Collagen fiber, if we talk, it is the major cells present in the connective tissue. It is a major type of connective tissue. Okay, and it is a part of extracellular fiber. So collagen fibers are the most abundant protein in the animal body, 20 to 25%, and it influence tenderness or toughness of the meat, and is a major part of tendon and ligament, but less in bone and cartilage. And the amount of collagen in skeletal muscle vary according to the physical activity. If any muscle or any body part is very active, so the amount of connective tissue will be more there, so the muscle will be tough, it will be less tender. Okay, and these collagen fibers are glycoprotein in nature. And if we talk of the basic structure of collagen fiber, the glycine is the most abundant amino acid present in the collagen fiber, and it will present at every third position. It means that if first position is of glycine, so third position will be of glycine. After that, sixth position will be of glycine. After the ninth position of the will be of glycine. That's why we are saying that the glycine is about one third of the amino acid present in the collagen. After that, one important amino acid present is hydroxyproline and proline. And these proline are very specific amino acid of collagen, and it is present around 13 to 14%. Why I am telling that these hydroxyproline are very specific? These hydroxyproline are present in all the tissues, but in collagen fibers, these are present in 13 to 14%, and this concentration is common in all the collagen fibers. That's why, while estimating the identity of the fibers or tissue, when we get hydroxychlorine in the concentration of 13 to 14%, we can assuredly say that this is a collagenous fiber. That's why we are using hydroxyproline as a marker for collagenous fiber. Okay. After that, if we talk of structural unit, there are 12 type of collagen. Collagen that is tropocollagen, and these tropocollagen are made up of 3 alpha chain, and these 3 alpha chain that is having 19 types, and if these 3 alpha chain will arrange around each other, that will form a collagen fiber. And we have to remember that in one collagen fiber 3 alpha chains are there, and all the 3 alpha chains are different, but it will arrange around each other to form a collagen fiber. And these fibers are inextensible and colorless, and it will appear reddish brown on silver staining, and it have relative insolubility and high tensile strength, and this high tensile strength will occur due to the presence of intermolecular cross linkages, and these intermolecular cross linkages will increase in number and strength will with age. You know that if the animal is of old age, the meat will be tender because the intermolecular cross linkages are very less and the amount of collagen is very less. As the animal age advances, the collagen amount will increase. Apart from that, there will be increase in the intermolecular cross linkages. That will be responsible for the toughness of the meat. So we can compare the meat of the older animal will be tough, or the meat of the smaller or the young animal will be tender or less tough. Okay, we can say that. After that, one fiber is presented reticular fibers. These reticular fibers are delicate and form five network instead of thick bundles. These are also silver stained and it will give black thread appearance that we call agrophilia, and it will support to individual cells, and it is present in connective tissue surrounding liver, spleen, or lymph nodes or larger vessels. Okay. After that, one fiber is present in elastic fiber. Elastic fibers are very less abundant and elastic in nature, and it is rubbery in appearance, and it is very well present in ligaments, arterial walls, framework of organ and muscle, ligamental nuclei, and here also the glycine is most abundant amino acid, but its unique amino acid are isodesmine and desmine. Present in elastic fiber. So you have to remember that these isodesmine and desmosine are unique amino acid, and this question is coming in net regularly. And it also have insolubility because of the non-polar amino acid presence and in the desmosine isodesmosine cross linkages. And its colors is yellow in color, and this contribute nothing to nutritive value of meat. Just okay. After that, if we talk of connective tissue cells, among the connective tissue cells, only fibroblast, mesenchymal cell, and adipose tissue cells are of major importance. And these fibroblasts synthesize precursor of extracellular components of connective tissue, then tropocollagen, tropoelastin, and ground substances. So we have to remember that these these are the precursors. That is, tropocollagen and tropoelastin are the precursor of collagen and elastin, and these precursors are found from the fibroblast. And fibroblast is a type of connective tissue cells, and these fibroblasts are spindle mesenchymal cells which differentiate to become one or several types of cells. And apart from that fibroblast, there are adipose tissue. Adipose tissue will contain fat, and it is of two types, that is white adipose tissue and brown adipose tissue. And this brown fat adipose tissue remains at the time of birth, and cells are smaller in birth, high with cytochrome in mitochondria. So you have heard in physiology that this brown fat is present in that young ones, and these will contain cytochromes or more numbers of mitochondria, because this will provide energy to the young ones at that time, because that will require for the sustaining life. Okay.
Yes, sir.
After that, specialized connective tissue. If you talk of specialized connective tissue, those are bone, cartilage, blood, and lymph. If you cut of cartilage, these contains chondrocytes embedded in gel-like matrix, about 40% of interlacing of collagen fibrils, and the hyaline cartilage, that is the most abundant, and elastic or fibrocartilage types based on relative amount of collagenous and elastic fibers. So hyaline cartilage is the most abundant. You can also read from book that where hyaline cartilage are present, where elastic cartilage are present. Okay. After that, specialized bone connective tissue are that it is bone, and it is stereotype for calcium, magnesium, sodium, or other ions. And if we talk of structure of bones, there are various parts, that is diaphysis, metaphysis, epiphysis, articular cartilages, and several bone marrow part, red marrow, yellow marrow, and there are several structures called canaliculi, osteocytes, or osteoclast, what is called bone eating cells, and it is composition in that organic matrix and inorganic salts. So we have to just read about the that specialized connective tissue. Examples are cartilage, bone, and blood and lymph. And if you talk of blood and lymph, it is 7% of body weight. And apart from that, blood cells, plasma are there, and these blood cells consist of erythrocytes, leukocytes, platelets, and in lymph, the main constituent are lymphocytes, few erythrocytes, and leukocytes. So we have to just know superficially that how these specialized connective tissue are, and how the what are the cells they are having, and you have learned already detail in physiology and biochemistry, I think. So we have don't go to detail. After that, one specific tissue present in meat is nervous tissue. It is also present in very less quantity, less than 1%. And if we talk of function, it has influence on the meat quality. And you have learned about the slaughtering practices now. That what we call halal. We are every time saying that halal slaughtered meat are of very good quality. Why? When we are slaughtering the meat, we are not disconnecting the nervous tissue of brain from spinal cord. By which, what will happen when we are slaughtering the animal? The nerve impulses are regularly going from brain to heart, by which the heart is regularly contracting. So, due to the contraction of the heart, the blood will pass out of the animal's body after slaughter. Due to which, what will happen? There will be less blood present in the carcass, there by which there will be less chances of spoilage in the meat or carcass, and the quality of the meat will be of better quality, of good quality, in respect to Davis method of slaughter or Jhatka method of slaughter. So this is the importance of nervous tissue while we are studying the influence of this nervous tissue on the meat quality. So nervous tissue is made up of several neurons, and the structures which are present are neurolemma, myelin sheath, neuroplasm, nucleus, axon, exoplasm, then node of Ranvier, Schwann cells. And if we talk of interdigitating areas of two neurons, or where one neuron will attach with another neuron, we called these areas synapse. and there are several types of nerve fiber, that is unmyelinated nerve fiber. So we have to remember this. And nervous tissue. After that, we will see composition of muscles. If we talk of composition of muscles or carcass composition, the protein content will be around 20%, moisture will be around 75%, fat will vary according to the species, and S will constant around 1 to 1.5%. So this is of carcass. If we talk of meats of different species, so if we talk of meat of several species, the it will also vary according to the species. The protein will vary around 20-25%. Carbohydrate concentration is always zero, because the carbohydrate will be vanish when it will convert from glycogen to lactic acid at the time of conversion of postmortem muscle to meat. Fat will vary according to the species. We can see that mutton has higher fat percentage, ham has higher fat percentage. It will vary according to body parts also. As content will vary up to 1%. The calcium concentration is very less. Phosphorus and this sodium concentrations are high. Iron concentration is also high. So we have to remember this. After the carcass composition, if we talk of carcass composition, this flesh or muscle carcass will consist of skeletal muscle around 35 to 60%. Bone percentage will vary according to the carcass. Mutton has 25% bone percentage. Bobby calves, that is young calves, have 50% bone percentage. So the concentration of muscle will be less. Veal have 20 to 25% bone percent. Pork have 12 to 20%. After that, fat is present also in carcass. The fat categories are simple lipids, compound or conjugate lipids, derived lipids. So we have to remember this. These are the categories of lipids present in the meat. After that, if we talk of chemical composition of animal body, so if we talk of chemical composition of animal body, the body will be made up of oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, sodium, chlorine, magnesium. Apart from that, there are several trace elements present in animal body. We can see here that aluminum, fluorine, vanadium, zinc, etc. But we have to remember that the major element present in animal body is oxygen, that is 65%. After that, carbon, that is 18%. After that, hydrogen, that is 10%. And we can remember that these are the basic unit of the animal body: oxygen, carbon, and hydrogen. Okay. After that, composition of mammalian skeletal muscle, if we see in detail, that is water, that is 25%. Protein, the range will vary from 16 to 20%, but average 18.5%. Lipid, 3% average. After the non-protein nitrogen substances, 1.5%. Carbohydrate and non-nitrogen substances, 1%. Inorganic constituent, 1%. Okay. After that, if we talk neutral lipids, 1%, phospholipid 1, cerebrosides 0.5, cholesterol 0.5, and glycogen will be always less than 1%, because this glycogen and glucose will be converted. This glycogen is present in the heart or myocardium, but the glucose will be converted into lactic acid at the time of postmortem conversion of muscle to meat. So the glucose concentration will be less than 0.1%. Several energy compounds like precursors of cell metabolism like hexose, phosphate, lactic acid, etc. These are also presently less than 1%. After that, if we talk of detailed composition of skeletal muscle protein, so you know very well that there are three types of meat protein present in the meats, that are myofibril protein, sarcoplasmic protein, and stroma protein. All the proteins present in meat are around 20%. If we talk of major portion, these 20% is divided into several parts. Myofibril protein, it is 9.5% of total protein. Okay. Of after the myosin 5%, actin 2%, like that we have to remember. Sarcoplasmic protein is 6%. Okay. That protein is around 3%. So you have to remember the example that myofibril protein has myosin, actin, tropomyosin, troponin, and protein C, protein alpha actinin, and beta actinin. Okay. After the sarcoplasmic protein contains myoglobin, hemoglobin, cytochromes, flavoprotein, soluble sarcoplasmic and mitochondrial enzymes. So you have to remember example also and the percentage. After that, I have already told stroma protein will consist of collagen and reticulin, elastin, other insoluble protein. Okay. After that, composition of skeletal muscle NPN. If we talk of NPN, it is around 1.5%, and this NPN consists of creatine phosphate, that is a major source of energy after conversion of muscle to meat. Nucleotides, these nucleotides are the major one which are responsible for the flavor of the meat. Okay, three amino acids that will also provide flavor. Several peptides are present, that is anserine, carnosine. These are the dipeptides containing histidine residues, and it has buffering action. And other non-protein substances are creatine, urea, NAD, dinucleotide, phosphate, etc. So these I have included in detail. You have to read these things. If any problem you are having, you can ask me now.
Okay, sir. When I will go to the slide.
Yeah. You just go to the slide. If any problem you are having, you can contact me on phone or WhatsApp or anything.
Okay.
Just go to it. I will share slide with you. Okay, and I will also send to that Susma madam and Dean PGS sir for reporting. You just go through it. After you just read, I will take one that quiz from this whole whole unit, because from unit 1 the structure and chemical composition of meat tissue is a major one. But after going into detail of conversion of muscle to meat, everything, first we have to know the structure of the muscle. If we will know the structure of the muscle, we can easily understand the rigor mortis, conversion of muscle to meat. Okay, you just go through the slide. And I have also mentioned the several books, which book we have to refer. I will send PDF of that book. You just go through it. Okay. Okay, Nitish. Hello. Are you getting my point?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So then
Yes,
I will.
sir, yes, sir.
Then I will close the lecture now. That is also not there.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Bye then.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Bye, sir.